Hello and welcome to session 4 of Night's Black Agents. This session is being run on the Gauntlet Calendar. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him. This is part of a large 100+ sessions we run each month on our calendar, which is served by our dedicated app. If you want to find out more about that, we do online gaming and people can come and sign up for games. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We also have, if you're watching this in early February of 2021, we have an open gaming event happening at the end of the month. And there's more information on that at the website I just mentioned to you. We are playing Night's Black Agents, which comes from Pelgrane Press. This is a modified version, so if you know NBA, you will see that the rules are being handled slightly differently. I'm going to introduce our characters. We are in the thick of it, as it were. And last time, our team split up, and nothing truly terrible happened. They were successful in both halves of the operation. No, neither of them were killed, and they didn't have to run away from an explosion and a burning building behind them. So I consider that a success. So let's start at the beginning of the character keeper. Pavel, please tell us about Carl.
Hello, good evening. I'm Pavel, and I'm playing Carl. We both use pronoun he, him. Carl is a ex-Grom Polish commando. He is kind of like a group gun-ho. He's always armed, always ready to go. Sometimes a little bit confused as to what is going on, but he's trying to keep up. He recently changed his appearance. He made for himself a new cover identity of Victor Deslis, a French-American cowboy. He shaved his beard and is now wearing like a weird style of, like, a sport clothes, but then some leather jacket or some leather vest and a straw hat to throw off any like trails of his past, which was heavily compromised by the vampire conspiracy. And last time he was in Italy and in other places, but mainly in Italy, escaping from a mansion, being shot by a vampire sniper, doing cool stunt with driving a car.
We had a good car action bit there, and things worked out relatively well. And you've done your session refresh, so we're good there.
Yeah, I'm leaving notes for myself as I done it, so that I don't double do it.
Good call. Let's come to Paul.
Oh, I'm Paul, he, him, and the character I'm playing is Peter Skellen, also he, him. He's pretty much the man in the van. Last week, him and Jimmy went to Stuttgart, and we were on team win rather than team lose. Just want to put that straight. Yeah, and that's pretty much Peter's role in the group, and he is quite amazed by Carl's new Berlin look.
And then next we have Henrietta.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends how we define win and lose, doesn't it? We came away last time with what we believe to be a very valuable set of data in the form of a computer hard drive from what we were hoping was a whistleblower. But as he brought the whistle to his lips, he took a sniper bullet to the head. And it's fair to say that this is all getting very real for Henry. Henry is a former MI6 agent who made her living pretending to be other people and then waiting for other people to do the dirty work. And she has, over recent weeks, found herself at the shitty end of the stick more often than she's used to, and is currently not feeling great. It's fair to say.
I think that's very fair to say. And lastly, James Rook, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy Rook is part of the criminal underworld, been used by MI6 as an asset in the past, stumbled across all this thing, and last session was part of Team Win as well, and managed to call on some old contacts in the shadow world to get ahead of things, and do it all without causing any kind of fuss, no one dying, no, like a professional. And I think I took my refresh last session as well. My one question was, what is the mechanism by which you remove a taken talent to a blank talent? Like, swap one out, basically.
Swap one out. Basically, I've let people do that if they're unsatisfied with a talent.
Okay.
So is there one that you're not as happy with?
No, it's just, if I could replace it back to the smorgasbord of opportunities, right? Like of everything being on the table, I would probably pursue that. No, that's fair enough. I just wanted to double check. Thanks.
Oh yeah, no. That is good play. So last time we saw our group head to Geneva. In particular, you were following up on the lead, kind of tabling the Barcelona side of things, trying to figure out how the people that had really put you into this were involved with this, what this Orpheus name meant, so on. Tracking back to a person named Brett Bankson, and present in the NPCs tab there. You arrived there and were able to determine through various means that Bankson is very, very likely an MI6 lamplighter, a person running agents, running surveillance teams, things like that, in addition to his apparent day job with a company called AgriWealth. And he works PR, which allows him to travel, that kind of thing. On the basis of that, you know that he has a handler above him. You suspect that that's the person who goes by the code name Orpheus. Those are the sort of the keys on that. You checked out his apartment and discovered that he is clearly headed out to Stuttgart to run an operation. And it was at that point that the group decided to split and follow up on that, while the others followed the other sort of big chain of things, which was running down AgriWealth and finding out that there was this potential whistleblower who had suspicions about something that was going on with AgriWealth. The assumption, the picture that you've built up so far is that AgriWealth, while it is a legit company with a lot of branches around and you've found some sub companies that are affiliated with it, it feels like it is a company used as a cutout or a cover for other operations. That's the general sense that you've gotten. You found some specifics on that. You were able to meet with the whistleblower, who was a highly placed person in the financial side of AgriWealth, but who had also been poisoned and clearly didn't have long to live, but had taken out some information from AgriWealth in a computer format. And it was at that point that he took a bullet to the head. The group was able to snag the computer and get away with clear note that the sniper was inhuman. His abilities were beyond normal, and the group managed to escape. Back on the side of Stuttgart, it was at that point that Peter and Jimmy were able to figure out that the operation that was being run was clearly Bankson was managing some kind of meeting, and the feeling that you had was they were going to, either kidnap or off whoever they were meeting. Definitely had that the hostile vibes, and in fact, Jimmy got the specifics of that from a friend of his who happened to be working surveillance on the street, who was willing to flip and essentially gave Jimmy the opportunity, in combination with Peter's planning, essentially had a parade go through. In the midst of all of that, And it was at that point that Jimmy and Peter were able to pick up the person who's clearly the target and bring her back. You're able to find out that she is a analyst, Eastern European analyst from MI6, worked that kind of intelligence analysis, and that she had seen some patterns of strange information, had seen like indications that there was some kind of black ops facility, weird black ops facility in Great Britain, had more information that had been supplied to her by a third party, didn't know who the third party was, but she hid that information in a location in England and got out of there. And essentially had come to the continent with the idea of like going underground after that when you rescued her. Cassandra Irving has been debriefed. You have the location that she has cached the information in Great Britain. You're not sure whether that's still there. You're not sure whether that's still secure. And she has been moved on through, I believe, Peter's network has been moved on essentially by some agents essentially on to Israel. So she is safe and off the table. So just to say, absolutely, that is what has happened. So we take up with the group meeting back after these twin operations, after the debriefing of Irving, talking with her about that very sketchy sense of things. You have the sense what she was given was historical records. And she mentioned last time that they had some weird stuff that talked about older operations, hinted at vampires and perhaps some historical connections and things like that. And she basically gave you what she could out of that. So on hand, you are back in Geneva. You have what she has told you. You have a bug in Bankson's work computer. You know where Bankson works. You know where the Agra Wealth facility is here in Geneva. And you have the drive that you were given by your whistleblower contact, Zulkifli, who is dead. So I want to start with Henry, just to get a sense, and then I want to check around where everybody else is at, sort of mentally, physically, all of that. And then we'll look at what pieces you want to run down after that. So Henry, how do we know that the sniper bullet coming so close to you, that the guy who he's going to give us something, and then poot, and he drops? How do we know that in addition to all of these MI6 revelations has gotten to you?
Yes, I was left with a shaken condition by events last time, and I think probably wherever we're staying, it's not a safe house because I haven't spent the talent yet. I don't think we need it yet in Geneva, but yeah, I think we see her pouring a glass of wine, and you know, as the bottle top hits the glass, there's a kind of tick tick tick, just and she puts the glass down, just steadies the hand, and then glass on the table, and then just manages to pour herself a glass of wine, which she just tosses back, and pours another one, and she's looking into space.
A little self-medicating. drinking there. Carl, where are you in this? You probably have a couple of rooms here. We're not in the sort of the fancier safe house, but you have areas that you can work and talk with, and you definitely see that Henry was probably very quiet on the ride back and has remained quiet through the debrief and everything.
Mm-hmm. We mandatorily see like Carl is like maintaining the team weapons, but he puts down like a rifle or something, and goes to the kitchen where Henry. You were in the kitchen, Henry?
Yes.
Or like a kitchen area.
I'm imagining this isn't. There's probably not a separate kitchen. I think there's probably a corner of this room, this living space, where there's a kind of little galley kitchen.
Carl goes there, opens like the cupboard, almost to like grab another glass of wine, and it's like then like asks Henry, mind if I join for a glass?
And I think it's as though he said nothing. She's still just staring out the window, while she fills the glass a third time.
Do you have shrink, Carl?
No. So we should. So to help with that, we need to pull someone else. I think Carl will instead like make like a cup of aromatic coffee and like put it in front of Henry, hoping that this could wake her up from her obviously daydreaming or day nightmaring.
And I think as the cup goes down in front of her, it's like she suddenly realizes Carl's just beside her. She just almost jumps away from him. And she looks at him and says, this is fucking easy for you. You make a living killing people, okay? That's not what I do. It's not what I do. Keep your fucking coffee. Take the bottle and the glass and go and sit in the far corner of the room.
Someone's a bit jumpy today.
And then I throw the bottle back at him.
There's that dramatic crash, of course, as it hits.
Mm-hmm.
Goes down into the pieces down into the sink there. Of course, it's red wine, so it has to make that sort of bloody splotch on the wall. Peter, what's your take on this?
Well, I think I'm sitting there with my hand in a box of Lucky Strikes or some breakfast cereal, really high in sugar, just munching on it dry. And I'll sort of like spin my chair around because I'm clearly at the computer monitors. I'll just say, Carl, she's attempting to solve this in an amateur way. That's perfectly fine. Just give us some time. If she wants to come and see the doctor, I'm sure we can sort something out for her. She's got to make the first move herself. That's the road to recovery.
Well, in this case, I will grab the cup of coffee and just say cheers and go back to clean the guns.
Skull.
The Lucky Strike cereal is that's what the doctor ordered right there. That is the breakfast of champions, having been a smoker for many years. So, Jimmy, these three have kind of a dynamic. Mm-hmm. What are you? How are you in this?
I'm imagining that Jimmy was sat outside smoking, and heard the smash of the wine bottle and the raised voice and everything, and then Henry stalks out outside, and he just looks up, pulls out a cigarette, offers up a hip flask.
Picks both.
And then they just smoke together, staring out into the darkness. Because Jimmy hasn't got shrink either. So
so we're going to move forward a little bit to answer a question that was put in the chat. Did Irving know the name Snow Fortune. And she's like, and she's an analyst, so you see her kind of run through, and she goes, "That's not, I don't know that operational name." And it certainly wasn't in the notes that I had. So I think that we should probably start with the drive from Zukipli, right?
Yes, we should.
I assume that we're going to have some work here. I am going to need just a couple point data recovery spend, and you can spread that out among people if you want.
Well, it sort of narrows it down that there's only 2 people with it.
Well, that'd do it.
I will spend one if you want, Peter.
Yeah, I'll spend one.
There's a shit ton of financial data here. Clearly the kind of thing that means a lot to him, and that you expect that in the long run, maybe with some accounting, running that down, that may be another track to run down to get further information. But you run the basics, trying to see what kind of paperwork was he grabbing up, what are the names that are coming, what are the big things here. So here is what you're going to get off of those drives with the sort of the base data recovery. First of all, you get a couple of names that people that he's clearly suspicious of, that are sort of at the top of the food chain. The CEO of AgriWealth is a woman named Ursula Kane. And he is clearly pulling stuff doesn't necessarily have her fingerprints directly on them, but things that get pulled up, transactions, money shifting, all of that. The sense you get is that she's really the only one who could pull, that in. The other thing that is noted by this in some of the financial records is some additional travel that kind of corresponds with some of these spends from Ursula Kane's husband, whose name is Torvald. He's a right-wing, essentially a Swedish television radio personality. Used to be big, and has now, because his wife makes a good deal of money as a CEO, he just does like article writing and pops up on TV shows from time to time as a talking head kind of figure. There are 3 sort of tracks that clearly Zukipli was looking at because they stood out as unusual for him. One is the Dubai question. Why are we setting up AgriWealth's setup in Dubai? Why are we doing that? He notes that the last time they had Middle Eastern ventures, those got shut down. They got shuttered during the Arab Spring. Back in 2008, they had some offices in Cairo that got shut down. And he finds it weird, especially in the wake of, as I mentioned last time, that they also shuttered their U.S. operations in 2016, 2017. But the other 2 things that he notes is 2 weird, highly buried sets of like why do we have money here? Why is it being spent this way? And the basics are, one is some sort of academy, like maybe sort of high school or maybe even like a kind of a junior college level, that kind of grade, like teens, late teens aged academy in Romania called the Soforo Academy, Soforo. And certainly there's money getting transferred there. If it was a charitable donation, you would do that above board. You would take tax deductions, things like that. But this is all very much black money getting shifted in the company. The other one is the purchase and control of a location in Austria that apparently is a chemical, like hazardous site, like a hazardous dumping site southeast of Graz in Austria. It is merely labeled as Site 53. Apparently they went through several stages of cutouts to take possession of that land a few years ago. You also have seen, of course, I mentioned last time the HGD shipping, that they're tied in. They get mentioned in passing in some of these as well. Does that seem like fair info?
That's a lot of info.
There's a lot of info. Romania is on the board as well then, Peter. Well, I clocked up thousands of air miles by the end of this. It'll be...
And they've been to Romania before.
I was going to say, we've been to Romania. We have some contacts there. Especially, I think you've got quite a few there, haven't you, Carl?
Yeah, I got some people. I'm sorry, I missed the ending. HGD shipping was mentioned in this on this hard drive. In what context?
You remember last time you were checking on AgriWealth and you saw both Axle Logistics and HGD shipping pop up. HGD definitely pops up being utilized for transporting some things in the course for the Dubai, moving materials over there and so on.
Anything more solid on the HGD shipping?
Haven't
or that is being used and that's it.
That it is very exclusively kind of being used by AgriWealth. They're using that for a lot of key things, especially off the books things. Last time Jimmy was able to identify some ports of call for HGD, and we're also able to establish that they run literally a very tight ship. They're very, very good about screening their operatives, people who work on the ship.
Yeah, they were, so they were too busy to take dirty money because this is what they were doing. It's a cog in whatever the machine of this thing is, and we know where that's going now. Whether or not we act on that, it's the interesting thing to me is this facility in Austria, which screams to me Operation Snow Fortune. Two things in Austria, but we have got rather a we better get our little map of Europe out and start drawing up our itineraries.
So the question that I have is whether do we want to do anything else in Geneva, or do we just move out? Because I see that we could either capture Brett after his return, impersonate him and try to get more data, or simply assassinate him, as it will probably throw a wrench into the gears of our opposition, as he's using both MI6 and to do bad stuff. So just showing this on the table.
think killing him is a waste, personally. That's my opinion. I think we know that his boss is Orpheus. I think if we're gonna work Brett, we somehow need to get him to contact Orpheus, because we're very reactionary at the moment. We're working on things. If we can get ahead of the curve, get to Orpheus, I think that would be a huge win for us. Hard, but I think that would give the biggest results. I'm not adverse though to going to any of these locations and doing anything with these, because I think the Brett thing is hard. I'm not shying away as I'm eating Lucky Strike from anything, but that would be hard, I think. And it may just be a phone call from him, to a burner phone. It could result in nothing. But
Should
I think if we worked that really well?
Yeah.
Should
we divide it into? We're here in Geneva, right? Bankson's the thing that's outstanding in Geneva. Everything else is further away. The question is whether we go after Bankson.
Bankson and one of the major AgriWealth offices, just to tell you, just to make sure we got that established.
Oh yeah. And I feel like coming so far. No, actually, no. Our hand has been revealed by going to Zulkifli, hasn't it? Because they saw you there. And they attacked you there. So they know that we're onto them. Whereas previous to that, they didn't know where we were. We were in the wind. They didn't know if we were going after the other side, but they do know that we're onto them now. So there's nothing to be lost by going after Bankson in terms of tipping our hand to say we're in the side.
I think you're right. But I am slightly confused. I guess that they were happy for him to die of poisoning. And presumably our arrival triggered a more immediate response. Unless they were there ready to assassinate him and we just happened to arrive. I think there's something about, did they follow us to him? And if so, how did they know? Or did we stumble on somebody trying to kill him? And if somebody's trying to kill him, he was going to die anyway in weeks.
I think that's overcomplicating it.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I think it doesn't matter one way or the other if they were following us or not, because we don't have a mole because we're a 4-person organization. You know what I mean? But I think we go for Bankson, we do it softly or we do it hard.
I do want to just map the timeline of when Jimmy is talking to his former colleague on the streets of Stuttgart. Is that before or after?
That's probably I'd say just to make it clear, just to make it clear after. Alan, Henry, do you want to make a tradecraft spend?
Yeah, because I just want to make sure that we understand how exposed we currently are. I will spend 1 from tradecraft just to get the ball rolling.
I think you've got that thing where you're okay. I want to figure out how this got out, what's going on with this. And I think there's that bit where you kind of start to run back. There's a little bit of exposure because there was that contact that gave you Zulkipli's name, and then contacting Zulkifli and and kind of check back, and it's in just one little like traffic monitor thing as you're checking through, your route traveling through, and you see your cover red flag somewhere. Like when you crossed over the border, red flagged, and you're pretty sure it was your fault.
Should have gone by the Matterhorn. Everybody knows moving on foot is the best way, even if it takes weeks.
Yeah, this isn't the Great Escape. Maybe it should be. Okay. Well, I don't share that with the others, obviously.
I thought.
It just adds to my nervousness. And so, whereas I think Henry would have been volunteering to go softly, catchy monkey with Bankson, I think she's studiously avoiding the question.
Peter, did you want to make that accounting spend? I kind of skipped
Yes,
past
yeah,
that.
yeah. You know, clearly with the data recovery and then a bit of further analysis with accounting.
Yeah.
Let's see where this money is moving. How's it working?
So I'm going to answer that question. Then I want to do kind of once around for any kind of looking into or setting up that people want to do. I think you run a more careful sort of forensic analysis, trying to put together, because there's a lot of pieces missing of like, what's the agri-wealth structure? Where's the money going? How is this happening? And I think that you will be a little surprised, because you know that agri-wealth is a cutout, and you know that Bankson's involved, all this stuff. There's a weird thing that's happening with these ops that Kane clearly has her fingerprints on, is that it looks to you like they're trying to conceal that from agri-wealth itself. Like they're doing something like right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing. And
so it's sort of like they're operating, clearly agri-wealth seems reasonable on the surface. There's just this element of sort of nastiness, sort of corrupting it on the inside. Would that be a fair assessment?
I think what you think is that there may be, they may be hiding something from even the agency who's running the cutout.
Okay. Leverage possible there.
You notice that they also have, you know, a few private, you know, corporate agents off the books as well in that. And it feels to you like the Canes are running something within the company and keeping it hidden from both the above board and the below board parts of agri-wealth.
So someone's agri-wealth is a cutout, probably for MI6, but within that cutout, someone's running their own operation.
Yeah,
which we have to assume is the conspiracy.
that seems like a very fair assessment of that.
So I think that's a clear line that we want to pursue.
Jimmy, well, we have I mean, it's going to take a while for Peter to run through the accountants, to go through all these numbers and things. What are you doing in the meantime? Are you running people down? Are you setting things up? What do you want to know?
I want to know about I think I don't know what I want to do until we choose whether or not we're going after Bagson or we're going to do more, because I can't see a way of getting more information on a bunch of this other stuff without you know, choosing a hard point kind of thing. Otherwise it's going to open up more webs of stuff.
I think that's fair. Do we want to then do like the group convo, like the meeting about, okay, where do we go next?
Let's get out the glass boards and the China graph pens. That's where we want to be. It'll make you feel better, Henry. Let's stand around the glass board and stare at it.
Carl, when it comes to that, when we start looking at the planning, we start looking at the big board. Where's Carl leaning? What does Carl want to do? Does Carl want to run down Bankson? Does Carl want to go to this site? Does Carl want to do something else?
I think Carl. Oh my God, Carl says what I said before. So I see that we basically can either capture Bankson, impersonate him to get access to his office, his computer, maybe find his personal computer after we capture him, and then try to get more data, or we eliminate him to close this loophole. And then I think going to this. Yeah, I don't know. I would go to size 53. It seems like the most concrete of what we have.
So Bankston is number one for you, followed by the Austria site.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Making it more concrete. Henry.
Henry likes the idea that I think Jimmy had, it might have been Peter, that if we could put a scare somehow on Bankson and force him to contact Orpheus, that might give us a line on Orpheus. And what she's currently wondering is whether it's possible to take some of because the reason she didn't want to go after Bankson initially was she wanted some concrete leverage. And she thinks now that the Zul-Kipli hard drive provides some leverage that could be used against Bankson to just put the frighteners on him.
I will just comment on what I think about. From my perspective, this plan could fail because if you guys wasn't there, so this is the time where we maybe explain to Jimmy that what we expect to be Ruthven from Romania, who we think is Orpheus, who I think is Orpheus, is the kind of vampire that has mental link to his trolls. So if Bankston is his troll, they have like a mental communication, nothing we can track. But we could always try and see if it works.
We either take Bankson off the board and pump him for everything we can, break that, one target, and we see what falls out as they replace him with somebody else. It'll send the organization at least into some sort of reaction. Or we stalk him out. We've got a bug in his computer. We've got all those things. But if we were going to scare him, and if he is a vampire, I look at Henry, and I think scariest thing I can think of is are those fuckers that we took care of underneath Paris. And if these lot doesn't seem to play nicely with that lot, so I don't think anything, no offense, Carl, but I don't think anything's quite as, in terms of scaring somebody who's a immortal vampire, who works who's in on all of this stuff. I'm not sure that holding the, whistleblowing on Agra Wealth's shady dealings just sheds light on the whole MI6 operation. It doesn't put Bagson's hands in the fire, but if we were somewhere making it look like we were the Greek lot, I reckon that'd swing anybody into running off to the undead mummy and daddy. Just my thoughts if we're going to go that route.
So it seems what I'm hearing is that there's information you don't have about Bankson, that a lot of this turns on him. And so I guess the question is, do you want to run surveillance on him? Do you want to gather more info on him before you move forward? And if so, how do you want to do that?
Well, we got a bug on his computer.
I know his secretary.
Alan, do you want to start by hitting up the secretary, see what she's heard now that this has gone up?
Yeah, it's one of those. We bumped into one another at a coffee shop, and I think that probably this is. Oh God, you again? We must stop meeting like this. Let me get you a coffee.
And she looks a little frazzled. She's got her phone out, and she's clearly rearranging things, and her eyes roll, and you do that small talk about bosses, and she says, my boss, I don't know what's going on. What he had it. I told you he had me do the rush job and cancel it. Yeah. So I rescheduled everything for this week.
Frankfurt, wasn't it?
Stuttgart. He had me reschedule everything for this week. So I did. And then he calls me. He's on his way back. He's going to be here for just a day. He's rescheduling everything like another week out. And I have to book. He's going to going to Vienna. And then he's flying to England. And then he's flying back. It's just a mess, and it's 2 weeks worth of pushbacks, and I've got people asking me questions, and he's not giving me answers.
They're just bastards, aren't they? They have no consideration.
Here's the thing: is he's clearly on edge. I think he might be getting fired, just like, and if he gets fired, where do I land? Because I've tied my balloon to him. You know, and if he's damaged goods, no one's going to want to, they're not going to want to transfer me within the company.
Well, look, you know, I shouldn't tell you this, but when this nearly happened to me, what I did was to create a little insurance policy.
Like?
Well, if he's anything like my boss, everything goes through me. Yeah. You know, I organize the flights. I organize, everything. I collect the expenses claims. I collect, the mileage claims. I collect the hotel bills. All of that stuff goes through me. Yeah. Now, sometimes when it feels like the guy above you is going, sometimes you need to go to the guy above them and say, I'm really valuable to this organization because, this file worries me.
Let me have you make an interpersonal spend. What do you think this is? Do you think this feels like flirting?
It's that combination between flirting and bureaucracy, knowing how the company works and just convincing her that I'm her friend. I'll happily make a spend from that.
And she does the thing where she like shows you her phone and, asks you how you would do that and stuff. And like conspiratorially talks, like clearly she's interested in this. And she's like, and then you'd save it here on this external server, you say, and then da.
Yeah. Look, I always use, this makes it sound like I do this all the time. Of course I don't, but
right.
Whenever I go into a new post, I always set this server up. Yeah. And I do all that anonymously, and it's all nobody knows where it is.
Oh, like the Tor stuff I see.
Yeah, just like that. But look, you're a friend. You're in a difficult situation. So why don't you just put it on my server?
Oh, that would help so much.
So all you need to do is
she'll hand you her phone to have you show her how to set up the account on there.
I think back in the flat, there's a little ping on Peter's computer, and stuff begins to just beep, 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 beep. And of course I'm stripping it as much as I can because it'll be a company phone linked to the company archive.
Absolutely. So yeah, Peter, that will pop up on your radar there.
We are in.
So let me ask Jimmy, what do you want to do? Sort of research preliminary. We now have established that Bankson is coming back here, then flying out within 24 hours. And what do you want to do?
Head into Austria first.
Yes.
I don't like him heading to Austria first. I'm wondering about him getting ahead of us on whatever's at. But to me, I guess the major one is England is the cash. That's the only one, the major one that we need to be concerned about. I can't think of a way to do it from Geneva, though. So one thing I can do while I'm here, though, is I'm curious about you know, the stuff that's been coming out with the thing, and I'd like to do a
Let me
Zookeeper drive.
make a suggestion, and I only make this because it's a skill you have, and it is always a vague ability, but you have it. You have vampirology.
Yes, which I used to establish that HGD is owned by people who are, you know, very old-fashioned family. Yes.
Right. One of the things
Tipping
that
Vampires from 1895.
that Carl has done before with the vampirology spend is figuring out if somebody is a vampire or a thrall. Like getting eyes on them, watching them, and doing that kind of spend.
Okay, sure. I'll do that spend, yeah, for sure.
So how would you do that? How would you get eyes on him? Where do we, what's the sequence that we would see for that?
Oh, part of the cleaning staff.
Okay.
At his house, you know, as he's back and he's on the phone and he's walking around. I'm at the cleaning staff, and then I'm also, you know, sitting across the road while he's typing on his office in the window, right? And then I'm in a, you know, in an empty building way down the road with a set of binoculars as he goes to sleep. And I'm also like, anytime he's not visible, I'm going through like data that we've got from his hard drive and his things, you know, like looking at videos of him, and then every now and again pulling out that blood spattered book that I found way back when, and flicking through it and
You're watching for all the telltales, the light sensitivity, the strangeness about eating, the particular reactions to other people, all those things. First of all, he's out in daylight. Doesn't read vampire at all to you on that score. Like you run that down. But you're looking for the things that you and Carl have talked about, because they've run into a couple of thralls, a couple of Renfields, things that would indicate to you certain kinds of reactions, things like that. And he doesn't read that to you.
So we don't think that Bankson is a thrall.
You don't think he's a thrall. He might be, you know, an agent or an op, but you don't have the sense that he is been
Sinclair,
turned.
was it last time?
Sinclair and Urziot were the two agent thralls that they ran into.
So yeah, you know, I go back to everyone and I say, I think he's just normal, just a normal patsy. So if we spook him properly, then it won't be through some Vulcan mind meld shit. It'll just be the old-fashioned
here's my elevator pitch. I'm totally with you, Jimmy. We don't want him getting out of Geneva. We want to get him here, and I quite like the Greek vampire lean on sort of thing. So he goes to airport. We cancel his plane ticket. He then contacts his secretary. We've clearly intercepted the phone line. Henry comes over and says, not a problem. It's all cancelled. Can't get you on another flight. If necessary, I can use one of my talents to drain his funds, so we can't rebook anything. Hopefully we shouldn't need that. The secretary says she's sending an executive taxi to pick him up. Because clearly, you know, if he's driven his own car, we'll surveil that, render that inoperative. Executive taxi turns up, driven by one of us. We've black bagged him. Then somebody else can go to work on the Greek thing. I haven't got to thinking about that, but that's my initial how to pick him up without him getting out of the country. Sounds like a plan?
Sounds like a plan. The Greek thing, I'm thinking darkness, dead animal, and a shadow talking to him.
Yeah, I think we could computerize that, Jimmy. Sort of me and you, bit of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, if we've got him.
Carl definitely sounds like a taxi driver, black bag man.
I've still got the.
Sounds cool.
I've still got the Rhea Andriakou wig.
I like that. I like that we get him before he goes to Austria as well. We can scramble to hit Austria if we need to. We can maybe find out what he wants from Austria. You know, we can pump him for information. At the very least, we can scramble him, keep eyes on him, and then bug out of Geneva before we've got places to run down otherwise, you know?
I definitely think Jimmy and Henry's got some good questions to ask him once he's spooked. I'm all about catching him. I haven't really got too much to thought about what we really need to ask him yet, but I'm sure you two are ahead of the curve.
That
Too
feels
obvious
like-
is.
that feels like the next step. Let's take our break here, and then we'll come back, get the roll for that, and then work on Carl's like doing the grab. Sound good? Oh, take 10. I'm going to resume recording after I unmute myself. Both of these
But you
things
are
gotta
recording?
happen. I am recording now, yes. So I think this starts with digital intrusion from Peter's side to get the basic start on this, to get in there, cancel, track, all of that stuff. Does that seem reasonable, Peter?
Yep.
Then let's start with having you make that roll.
2 points spend. Here we go. So it could all go wrong from the start. 9.
It's a
Pretty
9. So you will be able to get that shut down, and essentially flag it, and then you're following up using your talent to essentially take him off the grid, kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you want me to spend out, paint the target?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he gets back. He does that. His cell phone shut down. He's
Oh no, his cell phone has to stay active for a moment because he needs to contact his secretary saying what the fuck's going on.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that actually is we see him, having to find change to like go
Use a
to
payphone.
a phone thing, tries to put his credit card in, there's the desperately trying to find the last payphone in the Geneva airport kind of thing, one that will at least take cash, and then since you've got a trace on it, Henry, Peter, there is him calling his secretary. She's like, I don't know what's going on, check out this, and she's let me see, and he goes, I need to get back to my apartment. I need to get moving. You need to make this happen now. And there's okay, I'll call a service. We'll get this set up. Blah 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 blah. And then that's, I assume, the intercept of the phone call for the car call. At which point, Carl, you get the signal that you move into place at a reasonable time. Carl, can I please have you make a disguise roll?
Of course. Carl, instead of being in his sport and leather, he puts on the best suit with a tie, black shirt, rents like a black Mercedes with like a tilted window, the blackened window.
Oh, tinted.
The tinted window, so that it looks like a VIP transport. Yes, let's see how this will go.
Perfect.
I will spend 2. Roll modifier, roll dice. 13.
And there's a 13.
Ding dong. Would Mr. Bankson please go to the executive carport? His car has arrived. Ding dong.
And Bankson knows you. Bankson knows you. He he's clearly the person who was at least an intermediary in all of this, but he is so wrapped up in this. And you see him going through his stuff, in his pockets, in the back and doing things. And he's so absorbed with that, he doesn't even pay attention to you.
It's probably because Carl shaved his like massive beard, so he looks like completely different guy, and the
Right.
suit he looks like completely different.
Absolutely. So how does this bagging go down?
Yeah, I like the idea that because this is like a VIP transport, there's probably like a window between the driver and the passenger in the back seat, so that they can like talk on the phone and the driver doesn't hear or something like this. And maybe like at some point there was like this like moment of like of like recognition in him, and that's the point where like Carl presses the button, the like doors closes and the gas is like being released. But since this is like tilted window, nobody sees that he's like being like a sleep gas in his like back compartment.
Okay, you rolled a 13. I'm going to give that to you. Let's not even worry about the setting up of the gas or anything like that. I'm just imagining the money going out of you guys' accounts to pay for all of this fancy stuff. That's what's in my GM's head at that point. Where are you taking him?
Someone else
like
was arranging the place, or do you want me to arrange the place?
I've just marked safe house.
Okay. Tell me about this safe house.
Well, the safe house is actually, it has to be, doesn't it? A kind of designer church crypt. Yeah. And we've worked off our experience in Paris to try and set dress.
Okay. Get a little bit of the Greek stuff set up and so on.
Yeah. And so it's a dark, dingy, but it has a easy car access at the rear. So when he wakes up, he will be manacled to a pillar next to, I guess, Jimmy.
Yeah, and I'm imagining it like, there's it's a relatively like we're stuck, like we can only look in one direction, right? And there are shadows all around us, and there's a single like light, that can be turned on and off from a distance away. And as soon as that light goes out, it's pitch black in there, and we can't see a thing. And Jimmy's just like manacled to the thing, so he can't really get that good a look at me, but I can get a great look at him. And I'm all, messed up, dirty, like blood-soaked shirt, looking like I've been hauled here off, by this thing.
And there might even be just out of sight under the collar, the sign of a flow of blood onto the shirt from his neck.
And Bankson comes to in this situation. You see him, grab at his manacles. You see him, stop, goes into agent mode. Like, this is not entirely unexpected. Like clearly what went down at the airport maybe made him a little more nervous than he would otherwise be. And he certainly looks around and doesn't say anything, just, checks the manacles and waits.
Jimmy, moves his head up and looks at him and goes, "You." And he pulls against the thing, like going from, you fucking cunt. What? You did this. You did this to us.
Who are you?
I'm Henry's friend. You fucker. It occurs to me now, out of character, that I was the only one that he might not have
I
known.
know.
Yeah.
He says, just calm down. Just stay calm.
Why? Why did you do it to us? We weren't fucking with you.
Oh, you're the fourth man.
I'm the last man. And you know, what do I need to make it? What push do I need to make to, you know, to convince him that I am so, you know, I am hunted, I am desperate, I want to see him pay, right? But maybe if we work together, you know, like he can tell me some things, but he has to, you know, reassure me of the stuff first, you know.
I think that's flirting. Essentially, is that spend? That's the that kind of play there.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get him to suggest it, you know, not me to suggest it, but
He says,
I'm just rambling questions at him.
and you need to stop talking. You need to stop talking. You need to calm down.
It lives in your shadows, man.
Who did you see? Tell me who you saw. Give me the pertinent details before they come back, or they're already here and listening to us, but just tell me what you know. We're gonna get you out of this, okay?
It was just so fast. It just so fast, and it tore right through them. It took me. What, why? They're after us because of what you did, you fuck.
These are dangerous creatures, and they have to be dealt with. They have to be taken out. And I'm sorry that your friends got in the way of us doing that, but stay calm. We might get through this. These are vampires.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I belong to an organization dedicated to destroying them.
To destroying them. So why us? Go on. Why blow up PRX?
You want to make a bullshit detector?
Yeah, I do want to make a bullshit detector. Metagame wise, I've read bits of the Dracula dossier, right? So
He's not entirely lying, but he's not entirely telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to push on, you know, he needs to give me a bit more, like, Vampire Hunter. Why do Vampire Hunters blow up a lab in Paris, you know?
They were working on a very dangerous project that had long-term repercussions Europe and the world, and we moved in to eliminate the people they had working on it. Fortunately, it looks like one of them got away, but we're still seeing what we can do. Believe me, this, because your friends were already burnt and they were already playing with fire on this, and
they were burned by you.
They were burned by their own decisions.
You're mixed up in, oh God, you're mixed up in Romania.
I'm assuming that Jimmy's wearing an earbud.
Yeah.
And
on the side of my face that he can't see.
Exactly. And I think that we're listening to this, you know, in the soundproof booth at the back. And somebody mentioned Operation Edom to us, didn't they?
Yes.
Within MI6. So I say to Jimmy, see if he rises to Edom.
Edom? That's you? I thought that was a myth.
And you can see that name gets to him. He doesn't verbally respond, but you can see the body language, all of that tension that all says, yeah. And he says, your friends very publicly, very dangerously went after a target that we've been watching that had infiltrated into MI6. And they made a fucking mess of it. And they threw a lot of operations down the toilet. Now, look, there was the need to get this job done, to clean the field so things didn't come back. You know how the job works.
Snow Fortune? Operation Orpheus?
I do, but I'm wondering, does my bullshit detector still hold out for that particular line about it being a
if you want to
target?
make another spend,
I don't have it, but given that I have a peanut gallery of people
That's true.
at my beck and call,
I will spend bullshit detector.
and on what line? What is the thing you want to know if he's lying about?
So, his claim is that Romania was a target that Edom was going after, right? Our suspicion has been so far is that, they're one and the same ultimately, is that group of, he's from that faction is that faction.
You definitely have the sense that it's not exactly as he said, like that this is not that they were following this guy and they had him under observation and they were going to do this, but at the same time, like whoever this Ruthven is, whatever that guy was in those operations, they clearly weren't under Edom's umbrella.
So 3 vampire influence groups. Okay. The web gets ever more complicated.
The code word for when Jimmy wants to be killed is whatever code word Jimmy wants to give.
Yeah.
He says look, that vampire operating in Bucharest, he's one of those deep cover monsters that we've been hunting. There are more of them.
Did you know Sinclair?
We had him on our radar as a possible turncoat. Bucharest confirmed that and confirmed to Azure it was turned. Look,
they kept asking me about, they wanted to know what I knew about Snow Fortune, Austria.
Snow Fortune?
Yeah.
Did they like in what context? Like what were they?
They just kept asking me over and over and again, what does it mean? I told them nothing.
It's something
I didn't know anything.
No. It's something that they shouldn't be asking about. That that's shut down. Why would there be? Orpheus is just a handler name. We used it to muddy the waters. They're Greek vampires.
Greek. Fuck, they're Greek vampires. Is there other Irish vampires? And I'm wondering, I think I have. Why us? What's their involvement in Romania? And you know what I say? The only other thing they asked was some fucking. They asked me about some of this voice out of the shadows, right? It just said to me, covered in their blood, and it said the Sephora Academy.
Sephora Academy, like it was theirs? Or what? What is that?
They said it was yours.
It's
They
not
thought we
ours.
were you. That's what you fucking wanted anyways, wasn't it? Us to be you. But okay. And I'm willing to, I'm like, look, okay, we can do this. And then lights flicker out. Scream dragged off.
Voice in the shadows. My master is hungry. And I think we'll hear the kind of click, 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 click of heels from behind Bagson. And
He says, you hit us, we hit you. If you want a war, this is going to start that.
we have been fighting, my master tells me we have been fighting wars since the Iliad. We will outlast you as we always have. And then I think that light we talked about, a shadow falls across Jimmy. And then it goes out, complete darkness. And that I think is probably when Carl arrives and just drags the kicking and screaming Jimmy into the shadows.
I would
leaving a carefully arranged blood trail behind him.
I think I want a disguise or a cover to put the cherry on top of this convincing act.
Okay, let's go with disguise, and I will, because that's not operational, and I am still shaken, and I'm going to spend 3.
Do you want to roll, or should I roll as I'm dragging him out? I don't know.
I think this is probably my setup.
Yeah, but Carl could spend a point or two to assist.
Okay, well, if I spend 2, can you spend 1, Carl?
Yes, I will spend 1 you set from cover, from operational.
Yep.
Yes,
and I'll spend 2.
One.
I'll spend 2 from disguise.
Okay.
And we'll roll +3, yeah?
Absolutely. There's almost no chance you could fail.
8.
Oh, I was so hoping you put the number in there with that.
So. Yeah, I know you will. Yes.
But I try to contain my excitement when I see a 5 pop up on the roller. So yeah, I think you do to get him out of there. He may have some doubts. There could be some cracks eventually, but for the moment, and if he gets picked up by his crew, then he will be convincing them of who did this for a while.
I'd like to put him somewhere where we can maybe guarantee as long a window of possibility before he's able to get free or picked up, like a shipping container or something,
Back in the soundproof booth with the bloody Jimmy, Henry is saying, the risk is that you gave him some stuff he didn't have. The Sephora Academy. He can't leave.
What if he's right? What if... Well, fuck, Edom's fucking real? But Sephora's his asset.
All I'm saying, it's just, are you convinced that we have not left him with anything?
He knows my face.
And he knows that you're dead.
Yes.
He knows we're all dead, according to your testimony.
I think if we let him go, it leaves us with a small window to go and hit one of our targets on his side.
And of course, you established that you're dead, so that will definitely take your heat down a tick, I would say.
Oh, okay. Lovely.
So we need to leave him alive so he can get out and tell the story.
Yeah,
we're not there.
Part of me is wholly behind going and stabbing this guy.
So do we need to leave him with a message? I
think
look
you- I
forward
think you
to
go
your
for it.
war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay. So we'll do the light, the
Yeah.
shadow, and
Drop
Henry
him in a
will.
place where he's
maybe-
contained. Have somebody
Well-
that can go by in a few days, do a
Yeah.
remote unlock, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would love that to in addition Shen, to what you're saying, like we are waiting for your war, just like maybe like this like cryptic message, stay away from our operation in Barcelona and Istanbul, and then like if you come there for us, you have a war, your last warning, something like this.
Fair enough. I think you leave him with enough misinformation and enough delay that he will be off the table. And when he comes back, he'll be scrambling noise when all is said and done. And I imagine there's the sort of the clanking sound as you shut the storage container, the heavy duty one, put the time lock on it, and skedaddle. Where to now? Return to the safe house. Mission accomplished. Muted out.
So difficult question where to now.
I'm interested in Austria.
Austria's
I think
closest.
get ahead of the curve a bit. Let him process whatever it is he's processing. Let's look at this sort of chemical site 53 in Austria. You fancied it, didn't you, Carl?
Yes, I liked it. I would also love to like sneak in onto one of the HGD ships, but maybe this can wait. We definitely can move out of the city to like try to stay out of the radar for a few days. Yeah, Austria seems
Definitely
cool.
no ships in Austria, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I like Austria. I'm very conscious of Cassandra's thing in England,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel that like we're probably going to have to leave Romania off the board. It feels like it's too much of a vague, baggy end to go after. So Austria, and then swiftly on to England is my play.
Okay.
In the wider scheme, kind of thing.
So I think we do see you loading up again, shutting down the safe house, gathering yourselves together, and heading to Austria, southeast of Graz, to the area out there. Are you keeping the cover that you used before here in Geneva, or are you swapping covers?
I definitely think Henry needs to change her cover.
Why would I need to change?
Probably because.
But of course
Didn't
I
he say
change because that's good practice. It's just good practice.
So Henry, tell me about the cover you want to operate under. You're going to Austria. The site of 53 is well off the beaten path. There are some small towns and a little bit of industry nearby, but you're definitely not in the urban center. You're muted.
American tourist.
American tourist.
Yeah, we haven't used Allison.
Jimmy?
So I didn't get made as anybody but Jimmy Rook at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier Stewart remains, as far as I know, and intact. The only anomaly is that we're traveling into Austria, and I was just in Geneva after I've supposedly died. But we are going to Austria, so it doesn't really require any passport controls or anything. I'm going to just stick with it rather than risk another cover roll.
Okay. I'm just going to put a little tick here.
Is Switzerland in the Schengen agreement? Is just asking Jimmy, is Schengen is Switzerland within Schengen?
That's a good point, actually. I hadn't
Yes,
thought about
it
Not
that.
is.
in the community. It is. Okay, fine, good.
Not like those Finns. Peter, what about for you?
I'm going with the classic Orthodox priest, Batuska Christopher Klitu.
You like those priests.
I do.
And what about for you, Carl?
I think I didn't get mate in Geneva. Well, we could have get mate on our trip to Italy.
That's true. Essentially, if you're not changing your cover, then you don't have to make a cover roll. But at the same time, you're wearing that cover out, and I'm putting little ticks on the clock.
Yeah, if I don't know.
How are you doing resource wise? Do you feel like making the spend for cover?
I'm just blank on who's next, except for rolling a name on a generator. I'm totally blank on who is next. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one and change
Okay.
and change later. I love Victor Desles too much. I think we see that somewhere in when we are already in Austria, probably he rented like a pickup, and on the pickup you have like this this thing being pulled behind the pickup with like quads, so that we can like move around the area over there, something like this. How do you call this like thing behind the car that you can put stuff on, like a boat or a quad or
A hitch? Trailer?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Then I need rolls first from Alan for cover.
Okay, so yeah, so that will be with disadvantage, won't it? Because I'm shaken.
Yes, it will.
So I'm going to spend.
Apart from while we are traveling there, I have been microdosing Henry with MDMA. He's been having microdoses of Molly.
Are you okay with that, Henry?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It I hardly notice it in my wine.
Then you're going to make a shrink or a medic spend 1 point.
I'm going to spend the good stuff.
Okay.
Then I will just spend 2 for cover, I think.
Okay.
And roll. That is an 8.
That is an 8. So good. Does well. I'll just put a little tick on this clock here. But otherwise, yeah, you're able to make it through American Tourist. Got the documentation, all of that. You're looking good. And Peter, why don't you make your cover roll?
Okay.
You're muted weirdly. Oh, there we go.
Okay, cover rolls. So I'm going to spend 2. And let's see where that gets me.
I've just spotted your boundless operational capacity.
I seem to have a large operational capacity. Yes, which is opposite to my technical. Yeah, so 13. I live and breathe priest.
Absolutely. We've got all the paperwork. You've got the notations. You have this identity prepped. It's one you've had ready for backup. You pull it out, swap out minor pieces of the clothing, and you will be able to take care of that. So we will see the 4 of you in various forms of transport, eventually arriving. And is there anything on the ground field-wise before I kind of roll forward, investigation-wise, looking into things-wise, before kind of push onto the site that you want to do? Jimmy?
If I was to get my key contact, it gives me a refresh, right? But
Yep.
it could only give me 1 point of investigation at best. Is that right?
That is correct.
Then never mind.
Okay. So you're just gonna roll with whatever comes.
I mean, I'm just going to hope that nothing interpersonal comes up during the course of this particular leg of the adventure.
Okay.
I'd like to spend bureaucracy, I think,
Okay.
to find out as much as I can about the company, the shell company around Area 53, and or whatever local businesses are around it. I want to know as much about that locale as I can, I guess.
Absolutely. So go ahead and make that spend.
Okay. There she goes.
And essentially, this is you checking with building registrars, permits, things like that. And you will find out that apparently this site was was described as a laboratory, a chemical engineering, something of that sort. Though it's vaguely written enough, that you're picking up on stuff that you can tell that there's something else going on there. A facility that was in operation in the late 80s, early 90s. And then apparently there was a major accident on the site. And it looks like it gets locked down. Government, permits and things essentially put it as an isolated location, a super site to be cleaned, but money never comes around. There, it looks like there's a whole set of sort of shell companies that they try to dig to see who has liability for it, that kind of thing, and it's just a mess. And then it looks like, and this sort of dovetails with what you got from the agri-wealth files, that about 7 years ago, agri-wealth, some part of it through various means, purchases the land, and essentially kind of pennies on the dollar paying out liability because nobody wants to have to do with it. They make some promissory stuff about cleanup, but that clearly doesn't go forward. Like it's still listed, as a hazardous area. It's still fenced off, and it looks like it's just considered, lost land in some ways.
So is there so there's nobody currently listed as in charge of it?
There is nobody currently listed as in charge of it.
Okay.
Pavel, any sort of on the ground legwork you want to do?
I'm thinking about doing like a surveillance, drone surveillance of the area. Unless you're asking what we do before we even get close to the site.
No, I think surveilling the site from a distance, putting the drone up, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like putting a drone up and like taking looking at what the site is, how big it is, what is their security, and I don't know, is it like alive? Is there anyone moving there, or is it like, or does it like look dead, just like to get the image? Because I think we still haven't decided, are we like breaking in, or we'll see.
So go ahead and make a surveillance spend.
Yes, I'm doing that.
And I think we'll get, the drone going in, camera past the large fences with, the razor wire up on top of it that clearly goes around the sign. Lots of signs, hazardous material, do not enter, in, multiple languages, dangerous, chemical. There's various details on that that are on the signage all around. And a good deal of this area is overgrown. It's, we're talking 20 some years ago. where they had like some Greenland in there, trees and things like that. That's gone too wild. You will come over and you'll see that there are actually old burned out cars in what used to be like a parking lot where again, you know how the asphalt cracks and breaks open, and that's all grown over. You might see that there are, the drone sound maybe scatters birds from inside that, and you can see that there is a building that's kind of partially into a hillside there. Structural damage, things like that. You can see that there's some like clearly survey markers and things to show and stuff to mark off hazmat and things. But there are a couple of new vehicles in a cleared out area of the parking lot. And you can see that there's evidence of like cleared area, traffic going to a relatively undisturbed, like unblown up section of the lab there. And that people have clearly gone back and forth. And you'll probably hear hydraulics, like you'll pick up the sound of hydraulics there. Like just a hum of that passive in the background. So it definitely looks like there are people on site that have gotten into a portion of this building that is relatively intact, and you suspect maybe there's some basement levels or something. Does that seem fair info?
Yes.
Okay. Peter, what about you? Legwork ahead.
The only thing I think of is observe it from the van. But I think with what
about tapping a local phone mast and seeing what kind of, we've got cars outside. Can we get anything in terms of numbers of phones inside?
yeah. How about sort of some sort of bugging?
You want to get numbers, like get a sense of what kind of activity is going on there.
Yeah, maybe some chat. Well, in fact, is there any open radio chatter? Is there any radio chatter?
Let's have you make that surveillance spend.
There we go.
There are at least 8 or 9 phones. The signal is weak, so there may be more. You suspect that there's definitely an underground portion to this lab, and it's particularly deep. There's no open radio chatter. That's not what's happening, but you're definitely picking up like the kind of feedback and noise that says to you machinery and operations, things like that. There's also clearly venting, exhaust venting coming up, which suggests to you, air conditioning, that kind of thing.
Yeah, which I'm starting to think is our way in. With the 8+ people, I can't see us shooting our way in. So, again, we could get the people out of there by either pumping it full of some kind of gas using chemistry, or we seal off their sort of exhaust things. Eventually, they're sort of carbon monoxide themselves to a pretty bad situation.
I like it.
What do people think?
I prefer using the knockout gas that we salvaged from that big Mercedes.
Yes. Yeah.
I like either of them, and I think that with a small group of us, with a man in a van with a big rifle and all kinds of eyes on things, with that added advantage, we can take them out one way or the other, you know, and then go in ourselves with gas masks and stuff, you know.
Let's take 5 and we will come back. So I'm going to assume it's night when you're doing this to try and, avoid any, visible
Most
stuff.
likely.
Okay.
Most likely it's night.
I mean, my only variation on that was whether you wanted a lost American tourist to turn up at the chain link fence and see what happens.
I thought Carl was going to generate a contact in the Austrian Air Force, so you could go in with wingsuits. I think it's a cool idea, Carl. You make the spend. I'm all for it, mate. That sounds cool.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking, to use the wingsuits there, because that's a cool opportunity.
It is, mate. Yeah.
But if you want to be on the ground, I'm not forcing you to go.
Hey,
Yeah,
I mean,
if you
one
want
way
me
or
in the
another, you
van,
end up
but-
on the ground, don't you?
Yeah.
Just
I'm
for
thinking
clarity, I'm not getting in one of those things.
You're not getting in a wingsuit to be flying over an area. Why? Is it because you saw a vampire fly before and smash into a car, and maybe that make you a little bit nervous?
It did.
So
we
Go on,
look at the chain link fence that we could walk through. Yeah, airdrop. I love I love the airdrop. I think that's coming in hard and fast.
Yeah. I'm for the airdrop.
it's very Fraser Simons is what it is.
Okay.
Network,
Peter-
Carl. This sounds
Pe-
like a network
Peter and
spend,
Carl
Carl.
go in the air. Jimmy and Henry will take the ground.
So I'm going through the air? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mate, if you generate somebody in the Austrian Air Force that can fly us in a C-130, I'm all for wingsuiting it in, because that is cool.
Sure.
High-low drop.
So
Yeah.
what's the theory about what makes that better than hopping the fence?
It's cool.
It's cool. It's awesome. We spent some of this budget. And fourth, Carl is wondering that it's 21st age. If they have placed some motion sensors, cameras on the outside, coming out from the air and landing on the roof allows me to avoid all kind of a ground detection and surveillance. And hopping the fence and going 200 meters because this area is overgrown. If they have anything there, we will be detected. But coming from the air, it's cool. And we are back on the building.
You're telling us all this in the back, in whatever small room we're in, and me and Henry just look at each other like.
Cool, guys. You don't want to? I'm going to cover you from the roof just in case there's trouble at the fence.
Because Alison is very happy to be this lost American tourist discovering the industrial heritage of Austria, and just see what we can see about cameras, motion detectors, how patent the fence is.
Hey.
But we've got this bottle of knockout gas.
We need to get that inside. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know. He knows
drop down
people in
with
the
them.
military, Carl does. He's got that military background. I'm sure he's got a friend in the Austrian
Okay.
Air Force.
I think we should let Carl try to airdrop himself and Peter with all Peter's IT kit onto the roof of the factory. And then Jimmy and I will observe.
Okay.
Sure.
Carl.
You only need something from the Church of Jobs. That's all the IT man needs.
Let's start with this. Let's have you
Yes.
make a network roll for me.
My operational will be totally empty for this, but this is so worth it. I'm spending.
Carl, could I suggest that you use military science to generate a pool? Because you know people in the Austrian Air Force.
That's a very good idea.
Sure.
So then I'm going to roll with all 3 points because I really love this idea to totally work.
It would be so disappointed if sadly the Air Force in Austria has nothing available.
would be really sad. It's a 14. Let's. I need a Austrian name generator. Not Australian.
His name is
Wayne.
Mick.
Yeah, Mick.
Rudolf Spitz.
Rudolph Spitz.
Rudy.
Rudy Spitz.
Rudy Spitz.
Yeah, why not? If you already have the name,
Okay.
yeah, he's probably a lieutenant in the Air Force that was dealing with those kind of operations. Can you
Special
put the name in the
Forces
chat?
C-130 pilot.
Yes. Can you put the name in the chat
Yeah.
that you said? Rudy something. I'll put it to my contact.
Spitz, like the dog.
Okay.
So, like, well, yeah, I'm not going to ask questions. Just get it loaded up. I get one pass at this. Let's go ahead and do this. And
Surely.
so while Jimmy and Alan are waiting, you are at an airstrip.
Mhm.
They're loading up other cargo, and your pal has brings you in, has you dressed and sees your kit and so on, and sees that this is something serious, and gets you loaded up onto there, and then plane takes off, and we go into that sort of full moon night. There, see the plane going over, and we see coming up on the drop location, and then we see the little red light, like in the movies, come on,
Yeah.
and the guy does the gesture back for you.
The back
The
opens.
things opens.
Yeah.
Could I please have you make this is a combination of athletics and infiltration. So could you please make a physical roll for me?
Can I spend military science to make it's a 3-dot pool, right? For all of us, for the purposes of this assault, essentially. Like I've got military science, I've looked over the base, I've done all the things. It's kind of like tactical oversight.
Sure.
kind of
I
stuff.
don't think it's going to count for the actual drop here, but you can certainly create that tactical pool. Yes.
Yeah, so everybody feel free to have that to know, which corner to check first, that kind of thing.
Cool. So am I alone jumping, or is Peter jumping with me? I'm just trying to grasp it.
I assume that you two are you're carrying Peter rather than going down in two different chutes to make it easier. That's my assumption.
Yeah, like a tandem jump, because I've got
Okay.
no military training at all,
Yeah.
apart from
Yeah.
shooting people.
Sure. A tandem jump sounds awesome. Let's do a 2 point spent on this one.
Okay.
Infiltration / athletics, one for this.
Absolutely.
It's a 10.
So we will see that quiet comes down. It's a small LZ. Like this is not a big spot to hit. But we'll see you do that come down, momentum as your legs hit, and almost immediately chute is wrapped up, cut, and the two of you are on the roof of this facility, on the roof of essentially the like still standing part of what's built into this hill. There is not a great smell here. It's a combination of sanitizer, burnt metal, and rotting flesh.
That's not nice. But luckily, because we performed a halo jump, we have oxygen.
I don't think you
we've
did
got-
a halo jump.
Oh yeah, I mean,
think
yeah.
a standard jump. I don't think a high altitude.
Oh, we had wingsuits. It had to be from a reasonably high altitude. So I preparedness. We got breathing kit. 'Cause
Oh,
we
I
planned on
think
gassing them anyway.
I think we can assume that you have masks and breathers because you've already established that you're going to be using sleeping gas. You're going to be rolling preparedness for. The problem is you don't know what the volume is. You don't know how big the base is, and certainly your sleeping gas was, for car. Maybe you have some more of that. So that is your challenge right now. But you two are on the roof of this place, quiet, no noise, and kind of awaiting there.
Yeah, probably as we touch down, as we cut down to the other team, Carl goes Eagle 1 and Eagle 1, Eagle 2 on position.
The eagle has landed.
And I think Henry's saying to Jimmy, so what do we do and when?
Well, if they make it to drop off the package, then we make our move. But if it looks like if we pick up any chatter or anything, we do. I reckon that tourist pull is a good way of dealing with the guards on top. We pull in, just distract the surface group, maybe pull some of them away if needed. But we're parked with the lights turned off on the road further up and like night vision goggles, like clocking out the thing.
So
and if they move,
you don't want us at the fence.
If we're at the fence and we got to go, you seem to want to be, playing up the tourist gig.
I think I have to be at the fence.
All right. Well, then let's go down to the fence then.
You two have made your way through the underbrush down this sort of only slightly used road. Make your way.
Is it me or is there a nasty smell?
I didn't want to say anything, Henry, but you haven't been looking to, you've been forgetting to shower every now and again. You want to cut back on the wine, love?
I think the thing that will strike you, because at least Jimmy has survival, right?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Is how quiet it is here. There's no crickets. There's no cicadas. There's no bugs. There's no any of that kind of stuff. And maybe just the crackle of the snow underfoot. But otherwise, no animal sounds around here. And just kind of moving along, the trees kind of flicker in that weird shadow between the moon and the reflection off the snow. That kind of is both bright and dark at the same time as the two of you approach up to this place. And it's cold.
Crunch,
you can see your
crunch,
breath.
Crunch through the snow.
Yeah. Probably a good 7 or 8 inches worth of snow here on the ground. So you make your way up to there. Carl, Peter, your compatriots have moved into position. You're on top of this building. What comes next?
I think knock him out, Carl.
I'm drawing a little bit blanks. I'm not sure. Do we want to pump the gas before we even see what's inside? I'm drawing a little bit blanks on this part of the plan. I don't know.
Yes.
Well, the gas is to either get them out or totally knock them out while they're in there. I'm willing to spend from...
Okay, so probably we need to find AC unit on the outside side of the building and just connect it so that the AC will take it across the installation inside.
Yeah, I mean, if they're pumping out crap, they've got to be sucking in air if it goes down a distance.
So
yeah, I mean, I take it looks like a military bunker, does it? So it's not got French doors every 2 meters.
Yeah, no, I mean there's a venting system. You're uncertain how big the thing goes down, but let's have you make a mechanics roll.
Yeah, but before we do that, that's the thing that I'm thinking we should first sneak inside and see what's inside before we pump in the gas, because then we lose the surprise momentum if it fails. If we look what's inside and it is that, I don't know, a huge underground bunker, 100 of meters, pumping on gas will not do anything. So I'm just.
Well, that's
thinking
why
that-
it really is good knockout gas, because I'm going to spend a point from chemistry.
Okay.
This is like super high grade. You know, this is the shiz of knockout gas, very concentrated.
Yeah, perfectly.
It
So we
can
probably-
knock out an elephant at 200 meters.
Cool. So
To whiff.
probably. So probably as we were landing, just like next to us on like maybe like like dropped like on its probably on like a separate parachute chute, like this big bottle of this like gas dropped on us, and now it's Carl just like hanging off the roof, just like attaching the pipe to the like air conditioning.
So I've given you a 3-point pool on your sheet for your mechanics roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I spend all three?
Well,
I see
Yes.
some yes.
it's from chemistry, so it's going to be limited in how you can spend it.
Yeah, I see someone knocking. So I'm spending all three. Yes, thank you. Let's do this. Attach. It's a 9.
That is a 9. So you will get this hooked up, and you will pump the gas in.
Either we wait for people to come out. Clearly, I know how good this gas is. Either people are going to come out coughing and spluttering, or we might notice a slowdown in the gas coming out. We might be able to measure some of our gas being circulated and coming out, or it's incapacitated them inside. So when the rest of the troops arrive, we should be able to go in.
Well,
You know-
there's an entrance and an exit, right? So we need to be covering that, and we also need to make sure whoever's up top is covered as well. And
Yeah. So
Everything
what
else
we've
is
seen is
waiting.
you've got the venting that you're putting the gas into, and then there are those that entryway doors that go into the facility where you've heard the sound of machinery going, and you'll pump this in, and the situation
Peter,
doesn't change.
Peter, can you ping their phones to get some kind of to see if they're, I don't know,
If there's any chatter, if they're on Pornhub or
Does-
something, yeah, sure.
does anybody respond to a random ping on their phone?
Is there any activity? Lol, we're sort of
No, all their phones. There seem to be no phone activity.
go.
I hear go, but what does that mean to me?
Let's go inside.
But who's
two of
going
us.
and like who?
The
Is
two
I
of
it-
us
think
go.
Jimmy,
All four
Jimmy
of
and
us
I
can
then
go in.
start snipping the fence, don't we?
Okay.
yeah, are there any guards that are visible to us on the surface?
No.
Oh, yeah. So we have that. Where the fuck are they? Moment. Like this is weird.
Yeah, well, I'll
This
break an
is
infrared
go
glow stick.
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy, Henry, can I have one of you make an infiltration roll?
I think that should probably be you rather than me. I can't imagine I have it.
Yes, I think so. Yes, and I'm going to spend one of my military science pool. And 2 off my general.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm only going to spend 1 off my general. Can live a life from the edge, right? Oof, 7. I'm glad I did. At least, yeah.
There is definitely some like defenses up here in the sense of there are wire motion detectors, the kind of basic thing like that, which creates a little bit of slowdown for you as you're like, okay, there's actually some security here.
Look, Jimmy, shouldn't we be triggering it to try and draw people out, because that will tell us if they're knocked out or not? And then I pull do you know you have a hole in that fence?
I mean, I'm up for giving it a go once we get in there.
Just move here quickly, folks.
Yeah,
and-
we're not trying to avoid the motion sensors and
Okay,
stuff.
so that gas is in the thing. You are moving across. Carl, what are you doing?
Let's get these doors. Let's go in, Carl.
Yeah, I assume that is there any entrance for the roof, like, or a window on the upper floor, or do we have to like go
No.
down and enter through the?
It looks like that entryway is like the one way in out, because the rest of the part of the building is destroyed. So you're going in
And sail
through
off the roof.
the intact section. There's the doorway that clearly they've got, you know, it goes down into some sort
Cool.
of facility.
So if we know that the other two are like triggering some kind of like a response, like they are like basically attracting attention, that then we probably like wait and maybe we see Carl with like a tranquilizer gun, so to like tranquilizer if anyone like goes out. So we'll have to like wait to see if anyone comes out from this door to like respond
So
to the guys infiltrating.
Get to the ground, get yourself set up there.
Yeah.
What about you, Peter?
Yeah, I'm with him. Although
Okay.
I think normal bullets, not tranquilizer gun.
Absolutely. So Jimmy, Allen, you're making your way across there. You see,
I think we're expecting like gunfire any second, you know, and like it's
Oh, yeah.
tense, and then we come like it's all quiet as we.
absolutely. Can I have one of you two make an observation roll for me?
Happy to do that.
Okay.
Absolutely, just looking at Jimmy. That's my observation.
And I'm going to spend another one of those short-term ones off, and another one off. So that's still 2. Oh dear, that's a 5.
Okay. So you two are there watching that. You two, because you're closer, the Jimmy and Henry are moving up. And I think you're hearing the sound of hydraulics, and it sounds like there's an elevator coming up. That rumble of like not a necessarily a how do I put this? It feels like a makeshift elevator, like they've had to hook up some things to draw, and there's definitely an elevator coming up there. And Jimmy, you're maybe a step or two behind Henry. And that's when this mist kind of comes up. It kind of catches in the snow. How you know how when snow catches, it kicks up a little bit. And it comes up, and then you feel the fangs in your throat. Would you please?
Or do I? Because
Yeah.
I spend blocker.
Then that's the moment when, how does that work? When the vampire solidifies fangs at your throat.
I headbutt it.
Okay, knock it back.
Yeah. I headbutt it and then like roll and then just like get up and sprint as fast as I can, going shit.
And you will start to move. The adversary against you two right now has the edge.
Yes.
Just to tell you that. Henry, you're the next closest. When you hear from just a few steps behind you, shit. And you turn around and you see this beautiful woman there. And she is gliding across the ice and snow, following after Jimmy. Her hands are a little claw-like. She is pale as the moonlight itself as she is moving. You are muted, though.
Abort. Vamp on sight, abort.
Carl, Paul, you two are, Peter, you two are there hearing the thing. Sounds like the elevator's coming up, and then that you hear Henry say that.
Yeah.
What do you do, Carl?
Do I see this like now that I shift my view, do I see this like a natural person following Jimmy?
Yeah, there's this pale ghostly specter hot on Jimmy's heels.
Yeah, I probably would like to drop my tranquilizer rifle because I don't think it's gonna be often useful here.
Okay.
Draw my M4. I would like to spend my tactician to immediately negate enemy's edge because
Excellent. So
they
you will
were
not be rolling at disadvantage.
they were kind of maybe like not expecting us to like bring to us the surprise guy from the parachute, and I'm going to like start shooting at this. I'm not able to like damage it greatly, but bullets prove to maybe like stop it at least and give Jimmy's like a running chance, and then I will probably.
So your intent is to take these shots to create advantage for your fellows rather than do damage.
Yeah,
I don't think
put a massive round, like a Barrett Light 50. It's a 50 cal round in a sniper rifle. So maybe Carl could distract with his tactician, and then I could slam it with a really high power, big sniper rifle.
So
yes.
Do you want to make that? This will be a simple check for me, Carl. Essentially to see how much advantage you can give. Does that seem fair?
Yes. So do you want me to like spend investigative pool or like roll some dice?
This would be, if you're shooting, this is gonna be shooting pool. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's spend 2.
Okay.
I'm going to spend my sniper. Yeah, go ahead, Carl.
It's an 11.
That is an 11. So you're going to give advantage to all 3 of your comrades in dealing with this woman for this next action, effectively, as you, and you're just, shot after shot towards, and which probably causes her, just by the sheer noise and so on, to get a little bit distance between her and Jimmy. And Peter?
Yeah, I would like to fire my Barrett M82, which is that's basically based on a heavy machine gun, but it's it's a sniper rifle, massive sort of caliber, 50 cal. So big shell. So I'm going to use my sniper talent, which gives me an instant 10. Hopefully now against a target that is at least on equal palms to us, because tactician was spent to gain the edge.
Remove the edge, so you're not going at disadvantage. It is still a superior foe.
Okay. But we've got an advantage, haven't we?
Yeah. So if you want
that's an instant big 10.
So right now you got a big 10. Combat against superior foe. If you wanted to, you could roll and maybe get higher, get to the 12 plus. Not spend your sniper, but if you just want to go with the sniper, that's fine too.
Yeah. I think, is there much difference between the 10 and the 12?
Yeah. Exchange harm or deal harm and choose an effect.
It's a shame sniper's only 10, but martial arts is a 12 plus. Scummer. Yeah, the chance of me rolling 12 is slim though.
Fair enough.
It's with an advantage dice, isn't it?
Yeah.
So 3 dice.
3 dice, and you can spend what you want. You lose some money not doing it.
Let's go for that. Is there any? I'm going to take 1 from that pool if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay. So I think that feels like, I think that's the last of that pool at that point.
Yeah,
last that pool. 2 of my own.
Plus 3 with advantage. Look at this.
Yeah, let's watch a 1-1 and a 1 come out. Okay, so number of D6 are 3. I'm not going to add anything with a modifier. We'll just add it afterwards.
Okay.
So I rolled a 6.
Look
and
at
a 6 anyway.
you.
So yeah, I think this is like not center mass body. This is center mass the Swede.
Yeah. I think that we see part of the face go off, crack, skull, eyeball, everything go off, and the just the sheer force of this lifts this vampire off the ground, sprawls across the snow, no blood. And I think all of you are going to mark 1 stress as the body hits and then the head tilts upwards and just half the face, the gore just hanging out there. Now, on a 12 plus, you can choose 1, suffer no harm, change the environment, or give the advantage forward to someone, including yourself.
On the suffer no harm, I think I'm not going to suffer any harm anyway. I'm at a distance.
Not going to suffer any harm from her.
But I take it that's sort of fundamentally included because I'm
not fundamentally included, no.
Okay.
Because we've still got that elevator.
Well, yeah, I'm relying on Carl for that. He's awesome.
Okay.
So no, I will pass the advantage forward.
Okay. Then you are going to take a shot then as that elevator door comes open from one of the figures there. So standard gun, they're kind of at a distance. They have to snapshot. So I'm going to say two harm, which means you'll roll, take the hit with a +1.
Okay. So that's now down to 4. Rolling at +1. 10.
10. That's not great.
Okay.
But here's what we see. So action resolution, and this is the take the hit on a 10 plus. I think that when the shot hits you, what was the gun you're using?
An M82 Barrett Light 50.
Yeah, that goes well out of your hands, and it kind of flies, and it does that thing where it flies forward and goes into the snowbank.
Okay, it's done its job.
Yeah. So right now, this vampire, clearly, just the head is moving right at this moment. Carl, you hear that shot, and again, that shot is ear-splittingly loud when he fires that off. Now you're used to that, but it's still kind of a shock, and you see that vampire hit and go back, but then you hear the crack of gunfire from the elevator doors coming open, and you see Peter take the hit, and you will see 2 guys in the elevator coming out, one of whom you recognize. That sniper.
From Italy.
Yeah. What do you do, Carl? And then I'm going to come to the others.
So now we have 3 supernatural beings in this fight. Yeah, probably I need to, like, the third guys, like, why not supernatural as well? Yeah, I suppose I engage them in a firefight. I start firing my gun at them right now, and I'm starting like bucking away toward the exit.
Okay.
But I want to gauge them. I want to engage them myself so that they will be focused on me. I'm wearing some kind of like a vest, so that to give my competitors opportunity to run for it.
Absolutely. I think that you're taking smart measures. I think that's a shooting roll to do that.
Yeah. I'm wondering, do I have the advantage? Because I created that advantage for the others. Then Peter created the advantage, but doesn't seem like I can.
Yeah. So I think that would make sense. that Peter's shot is, taking that. It gave you a little bit of alert, so I'll give you the essentially one of that free floating advantage there.
Okay. Yeah, I will spend 2 from operational. Advantage. Yeah, we are looking at 11.
Okay. So you're going to exchange harm, but you get to narrate where this ends up.
So it's still against a superior foe, yes?
Yeah.
Uh,
So essentially, he's come out with the gun. You've got your gun. So what is the positioning when after this sort of exchange of shots here?
my position or
Both. You get to say where he is and where you are.
Yeah, so
Do you want to draw him out? Do you want to knock him back into the elevator? Where do you want that to end up?
I think I'm a kind of Carl is like probably you said that there are some trees in this area, that this area looks like it's not very maintained.
You could make a run for the tree line. Yeah,
so I'm probably at the tree line behind some tree, and those guys like backed away into the doors because and they are like staying there, and we are like exchanging fire.
So one of the guys is sort of out of it and down, and the other one is the fire has forced him back into the elevator that he came out of. So that's going to limit his viewpoint. You are going to take a hit. You've got your body armor, so it'll go from 2 points down to 1. So just take 1 harm.
Yeah, just a question, because I was at 5, but we were like in 2 cities, so I think I had.
Oh yeah, you would have healed by then. You would have healed.
Okay, so I'm staying at 5.
Okay, Jimmy, a lot of shit has happened. You're running, and then you see that woman go flying past you, and she's on her back, half skull up. You look back, there are 2 pale figures firing. You see that Peter has lost his sniper rifle. What do you do?
I'm like patting through my pockets, and I reach in and I pull out the detonator for the explosive charge that, as I headbutted, I dropped into that woman's open dress.
All right.
I'm going to spend nick of time as a talent.
Absolutely.
And then I imagine it's an explosives roll.
It is an explosive roll.
I will spend 3 or 2.
I think you have the advantage.
What's the edge? I was going to say, does Jimmy have the edge at this point? If she's
I don't think
out?
he has the edge, but I think you do have advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll just spend the 2 then. Thank you. That is 11.
That is 11. So deal harm to your foe and choose 2. Deal more harm, suffer no harm, give or take advantage forward, shift the edge, reposition the conflict, or other benefit.
It's all on harm. All of it's on harm,
Then I think like we see you hit that and you're still a little close. And it explodes, and it's that you are lifted off the ground, bone fragments into you. You're going to take 3 harm.
Okay. And does it hit the bulletproof vest that I definitely took with
We'll
me?
subtract 1 from that. Take 2 harm.
Okay.
Please roll take the hit.
Which is 2d6 plus 2, correct?
Plus 1 because your armor reduced it.
Yes.
Oof.
11.
That is an 11.
Which is bad, isn't it?
That is bad. I think that you go flying back, and you just hear that ringing in your ears, and you go into the snow, and you're underneath it right now, and you don't know where you are. You've lost track
To everybody else, Jimmy's just, there was a huge explosion and Jimmy's gone.
Jimmy's gone. Henry, what do
Yeah.
you do? You're probably lifted up and kind of thrown back down. You see the two figures there, one of them in the elevator, the other one kind of out a bit. And it's just you didn't get a great look, but you know it's that fucking sniper.
Yeah. Can I spend notice to know that she is off the board, at least temporarily?
I don't think you need to spend notice. That
Okay.
vampire is in pieces.
Okay. Then I think, shit. You can't bring anyone with you. I think I will take the shooting talent suppression, alternatively spend to provide cover or an escape route for a third party. So I don't think, I'm going to say they don't know about me.
Okay.
And so when a hail of bullets begin to impact around them, I'm going to cash in suppression.
Okay. Essentially, what's the automatic weapon that you have that you're using to do this? Like an MP5 or something?
Yeah, an MP5. Yeah.
Okay. Just suddenly, and
Exactly.
even though they can take the hit, they still clearly reflexively duck from that, and go down and like hit the dirt when all of that is just lighting that whole thing up. We see the back of the elevator like we're in a John Woo film. We see it slow motion. We see some doves fly off, and it's just a mess in there. Let's come back to Peter. You had a moment where you thought maybe you were going to get lit up, and then suddenly suppression fire, and you've got a chance to catch your breath.
Yeah. So Carl's wandered into the tree line.
He dashed to there to get himself a better position. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not a combat man, especially not hand to hand. I've had no success in this. I know this is a supernatural being, so I'm going to I'm going to start hightailing it at least to the tree line. Where Carl is.
And I think because of Henry's action, I don't think you need to roll evasion. I think that takes that off the table as a threat. So you can run, dive, get behind the tree line. Carl.
Question: do you want to retreat or do we want to press in?
Well, you got comms.
Yeah.
I know, but I mean, Jimmy's in a snowdrift. Go.
Yeah, I'm asking as a player because I don't know which direction do we want to go as players. Do you want to press on or do we want to retreat because we are shifting from one to the other? Where do we want to go as players?
I mean, you're a killer. Do your stuff, Jimmy.
Jimmy, there are two people in a small enclosed environment.
Yeah. Toss us. Have you got a grenade or something you could toss in there? Maybe just to dislodge, because it's a homemade sort of elevator. It's probably a construction site type one.
Okay, we want to press on, yes? Cool. So if we want to press on, then as Peter is running to the tree line, Henry is providing cover fire, Carl is running toward so that he gets within the grenade range, and then we see he takes up two grenades, tosses them inside this elevator room.
Let's have you make an athletics roll, I think, for this.
I imagine you guys all got back to the tree line and then went, "Where's Jimmy?" And then Carl just went, "Fuck," ran back out, big damn hero.
I'm not yet searching for you. I was about to search for you, but I don't know.
But you're saving my life.
Athletics.
I'm just wondered if in the nick of time, Carl, you dropped that claymore just in front of the lift before you ran away.
I don't know.
We're already in the grenades, so
I'm
we're
tossing
already
the grenades.
Let's go with the grenades and see
cool.
what happens.
What do you want me to roll? General, yes?
Make a physical roll, yeah.
Physical. Spending 2. This seems
Okay.
like important. This seems important. Spending 3, going all in.
Go all in.
2 dice. Modifier 3. 12.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Rolls hit. We see the two of them. They're down, suppressed by Henry's fire. So you see them start to do that move where they try to get there, and they're fast. These two are freaking fast. But then that explosion goes up. You're lifted up, Carl, thrown back by the blast, but we see it blow out from the front of this place. And we hear the screeching of metal, and we can see one of them's kind of falling back halfway into the elevator. And he falls, and then we see the elevator come down and just shear him in half, and the burning bodies go flying down there. And I think that's where we go to black for today's episode.
Awesome.
We will take up there. You may take a refresh between now and then, and we will continue this next time.
Oh God, I'm exhausted.
If you don't mind, we'll do a quick stars and wishes. Jimmy in the snowbank, blown up, explosive. What stars wishes?
We killed another vampire, always a star. Taking down Bagster. Vampires, yes, vampires and vampire adjacent creatures. That was great work. Stars for Carl and the grenades. Stars for the healer drop. And even though it didn't pan out, the gas idea was a great one. I think it did minimize the numbers of people we had to fight.
There are a bunch of people who are unconscious / dead down below.
Yeah, we can't prepare for the X Factor every time, you know, we just do our best. And I'm enjoying Henry is, you know, for someone whose job is to get put themselves out on a limb and out in the most vulnerable spot, Henry's getting very skittish, and I love it. So those are my stars. I don't know if you want me to do wishes now or come back around.
Yeah. Anything you want to mention? Stuff you would definitely want to see next time?
I don't know, because we did so much here, you know, we did loads this episode, and we hit every beat, I think, of Night's Black Agents, really, at the end of the day. I love how sprawling everything is. I suppose the only thing that I really want from a player perspective is to start being able to close some things down. I want to go to England and get that data cache. I want to, I want to explore all of the leads.
Absolutely.
But I know that we can't, so I kind of want to say close off at the very least the connection to the last series before I started playing. You know, is that a red herring entirely, or
okay?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it feels as though it might be at this point, but I want to know for sure if that as much as possible. If that makes sense.
That is a fair request. Pavel,
please come to me last.
Okay, Paul.
Again, stars. Awesome teamwork all the way around, I think, from every player. I mean, clearly, Carl really, or Pavel bought the rule of cool tonight. That was just awesomely cool. But yeah, Lowell, we went from sort of a lot of it sort of planned out, sort of snatch and grab, and then you started really ratcheting up the, the pace of it. I liked the early stuff. I think we finished on the last hour. That went really quick because the pace was really big. So, really good there. More of the same. Yeah, it's good. So,
okay.
No point wishing for anything different.
Alan?
Oh, dear me. The Halo jump. Yeah, I mean, of course. The snatch and grab. I enjoyed the way you played Bagson. I enjoyed Jimmy drawing stuff out at Bagson. I enjoyed Peter, this enormous gun that fell out of the sky with him taking out a vampire. All of that was great.
Wishes?
Oh dearie me! As I look at what I've got left in the pot, there's not a lot left in the changing room here. I'm really wondering about whether I've got it in me to go into this place. So I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna have to go down there and discover Count Dracula in a cryogenic chamber, I guess.
Drac cryo. Okay, I'll write that down as a wish. All right. And Pavel.
I needed a moment to write down what I wanted to say. Will, awesome scene with the explosives. It was like awesome. So I headbutt, and then I put the explosives and then spook. I was like, oh yeah, awesome. Paul, awesome plan. We completed your plan, and I think it worked out much better than I was expecting, and it was much more fun. Will, also awesome role play, awesome hostage role play. Man, why did you drag us into this? Why did you do it? Yes, it was awesome. Alon, this like smoothing the secretary and convincing her to start uploading stuff to some like, hey, you can use my server for the dirt. Sure. It was really cool. Lowell for like managing all of this chaos. Wish-wise, I sort of feel that we cheated with these explosives. I sort of wish, I don't know how, but that we somehow learn how to kill them and use the proper tools to kill them rather than cheat with like explosives, bigger explosives. I don't know how, maybe somewhere in this file should be some information. I don't know, but it would be cool to like know how to properly kill them and then do it this way.
I think that's
I
fair.
actually quite like the explosive solution at a distance. I think that's a very neat mesh that compared to last time when I had to stand next to the guy.
Here's the thing is the explosives work when you're in this kind of isolated environment. There are many situations where that will be less than ideal.
I did almost go for the oak, but I was like, if this doesn't work, then I am screwed. And they don't seem the same type of vampire, so
yeah, they're not in shadows or anything.
Yeah.
I have to say, well, if you hadn't blown her up, I was going to leap on her with the oak and with the other oak stake. Pull a Paul. Ah!
So just to give a frame, we're probably going to start next time like you would on an episode following this thing, where we see you walking in the sort of the burnt out lab, looking around, checking out what here and figuring out what's going on, just to have a sense so you know we're not immediately going into another action scene from this. The pace will turn, and you'll be able to essentially reap your rewards for your raid. Thank you all so much. That was dynamite. I had a great time running that. I'm going to stop the recording.